So we're going to have a quick little breakdown of Heinrix here. You can use Word of the Emperor to loop some momentum buffs, which you can then use for shield and hammer. He comes with Biomancy, so he can use Iron Arm to increase his toughness and his strength. One of the best weapons that you can put on the Executioner variant is the Chainsaw, which can build up dots very quickly, and then after the first hit, it can start stacking and proccing. And with Dogmatic 2 and Biophysical Distortion, you can apply all 3 dots on a single attack. So as you can see here, Forceful Gene Stealer just got absolutely obliterated. You can orchestrate Flame himself after using Ignite, so that way he does extra fire damage. He can then heavily invest into Charge to do huge damage and move around the battlefield. He can then even use Where It Hurts with Pyromancy powers to do triple proc explosion AoEs of stuff like Firestorm. He pairs very well with Idra, who can actually double up on using those Word of the Emperors, and obviously playing Shield of the Emperor and Word of the Emperor herself. Because the Bounty Hunter interrupts their turn, this can actually reset your abilities and allow you to use them again, as you can see here. One of the problems is you can get movement locked, like it appears that I've done here, because only a few classes like Arc Militant can keep moving and attacking. However, by heavily investing into Charge and using the Void Veteran boots, each melee kill will restore his movement. This will allow you to keep moving and getting kills, so you can build up to use Daring Breach so you have unlimited movement to move around, or you can use Carnival of Misery and Inflame just to wipe the battlefield. As you can see here, I've gone the heavy armor version, so I'm using Psyker's Breastplate, so as you can see, my Siren's gone up to 15. My gear benefits from this directly, and this will increase the damage of my Psyker powers, as well as even passives like Word of the Emperor. So as you can see here, I can just do these massive attacks, massive explosions, and absolutely wipe some things. So yeah, let's break this down. Hello everyone, Revan619 here, and we're going to be covering the highest damaging companion in the game, probably one of the most versatile ones, because he can just be built into anything incredibly effective, which is Heinrix. Since the DLC in 1.2 and then with the changes in 1.3, this man is the good man that can do everything. Heinrix is the strongest companion that there is in the game. If you have any problems with him being a Fed, the only way to stop him being a snitch is to play a female rogue trader and romance him, because his loyalties lies somewhere else when you do it that way. However, I build Heinrix as an Executioner. I go into Pyromancy, and I use his Biomancy and his Santic stuff to make him pretty much the unstoppable killing machine. The reasons behind why he is so incredibly strong is he has access to they changed the chainsaws to rock saws now, but the well-maintained rock saw here has a strike count of 4. As you get buffs from allies that increases ballistic skill, you can actually increase the number of bursts from the Temperis Carapace Elite backpack. I've changed this 4 to 12 by the end game. You can increase his psi rating with Psyker's Breastplate, which you can then use to increase the Hand of Offense, but you don't need to go into this. You can actually build him into light armor. So if you wanted to go down the light armor route, there are some many good ones, and I've put into the build spreadsheet variations that you can do for either heavy or light armor. You can focus on Psi gear, or you can focus on Medicae gear, because he can use both. Medicae on him will increase his HP, but it won't increase his critical damage like it will with a Blade Dancer. But you can use Reckless Abandon to then turn that HP into percentage damage. So if you smack this guy's health up to 1,000, he can do a lot of damage. Now, a lot of the gear for him I actually currently have on my Blade Dancer, but you can use the Eyes of J. Suisse to increase his psi rating by 2. You can use Voiceborn's Pride, so you can get his resolve to Medicae every time he kills, so you can do loops with one of the Emperor to spam that. You can also increase his number of attack actions with Warp Surge Brooch. You can further increase his psi rating with Star Mist Scarf, or you can, like I'm using at the moment, use Medicae stuff. So the Phoenix Gem can give him plus 20. The Mechanic Respirator can give him a plus 15. And what it is, you can also turn that into armor as well because of Perfect Anatomy. And then with Destined, he also gets a little bit more. So there are multiple ways to do it, but what's very important that you get on him is the Void Veteran Boots. This means every melee kill will actually give you a 0 AP use of charge, so you can have infinite charges just to wipe battlefields. At the moment, I've got the Executioner's Gauntlets, which increases critical damage of where it hurts, including damage from attack itself and extra instance damage over time by 28. So you can use that with either his melee bursts, or you can use that with, say, Firestorm to get 3 times procs on it. Alternatively, there are Medicaid gloves that you can use as well, but it's going to be down to really what you want to do. If you want to get his weapon skill up, you can put him on some gloves for that. There's a lot of options that you can really do with this. But you're going to do a lot of damage, you're going to clear it. Obviously, increasing the burst attacks is obviously very important because it will apply more dots. More dots means more damage because of Force Repentance, they proc instantly. There's quite a few options that you can use for his gear at the moment. So at the moment, he's got Anatomy Tone and Hand of Offense on there, because obviously I was Cyrate stacking. But there are other things you can put on it, like I showed with from the Medicaid stuff that's currently on my Blade Dancer. But you can even do stuff to increase his charges, like you can put an Accuser of Sin, so you get extra damage against Demons and Xenos equal to Willpower. So you can stack Willpower or you can stack Agility, depending on what you want to do with it. So let's have a little look at the actual spreadsheet itself. So here is the build that I've got at the moment, and there are quite a few options that are going to play to you and how you like to play with your own playstyle. All of these are suitable for Unfair. Rigorous training is important to get because we don't go into Arc Militant, so we can charge and keep moving. So that way you can buff yourself with Ignite, Orchestrate Flame, and then charge in. Pneumo Boots in Act 1 makes that very useful, so you can attack and buff on the same turn. You can take Thick Skin if you're worried about taking damage and you want to tank a little bit more, or Ramming Speed. Personally, I go Ramming Speed. Impertus will increase the damage of his charges, which is very good. And then you've got level 13, you can choose to either go into Heavy Armor or you go into Desolation. So if you go into Heavy Armor, you're probably going to be taking Willpower, so you can use some powers with that because that's what you're going to be focused on with increasing your psi rating. Or instead of Willpower, you can take Agility, which I've marked on the other levels here, if you go into for Desolation. So depending if you want to be a light armor that charges in and does extra damage on the charge, or if you want to do more stuff with psi powers, it's up to you. But what's important is when we get into Executioner, we pick up Firestorm, because Firestorm we can use to do like big AoE self-heals. Anatomy Expert is going to change our HP to scale with Medicaid, which is obviously very useful. We don't get our weapon skill to Medicaid like you do at Blade Dancer, so getting items for it is quite useful. We take Psychomajoris a little bit later, but we then get Psychoterminus pretty quickly. Inflame will increase the damage of Orchestrate Flame. Invigorating Screams will do Toughness to increase our health when we heal, because our Toughness is pretty low at the start. Stuff like Iron Arm, very useful, and stuff like Reveal the Light with Infusing is also very useful to get that up. Sparks of the Grey Flame lets our dots crit. We get our strength to increase our damage here. We get all our dot increase stuff, so like Master of Torture, and then we get all-encompassing Agony after we get Biophysical Distortion, which we do around level 30, so we get that third dot. You can go and Shield of the Emperor here, or Reckless Abandon. I've played with both, they're both very good. And again, Willpower or Agility, depending if you're going to be using more Psychic powers, or if you're going for more dodge. So again, it's up to you which you do. Corpus Conversion is currently bugged, so every time you do a targeting buff that you get 2 psi rating. They're probably going to fix that soon, so that's why I've got Perfect Anatomy here as well, so you pick the one that you want. At the moment on this build, I am using Perfect Anatomy because I didn't want to rely too much on the Corpus Conversion bug. When we get into our higher levels, we'll start getting a lot of more crit damage from Hymns of Hatred. That's actually a huge upgrade here. Fire Within will increase our attack economy. Some of Heroes will also increase our psi rating as we use stuff there. You can pick up Hammer of the Emperor here if you picked up Shield of the Emperor before. If you picked up Reckless Abandon, you'll probably want to get Enfeeble, so you can do like AoE debuffs. And then at 42, you've got a little bit more opening to yourself. Again, if you've gone Willpower, Molten Beam. If you'd gone for Enfeeble, you can get Warp Speed here. Or if you didn't want to use Molten Beam, but you'd picked up like the other Shield and Hammer of the Emperor, you can pick up Reckless Abandon here. So again, that's open to yourself. Then depending on what you took before, if you've got Molten Beam, you're going to want Backdraft. If you've got anything else, you're going to want Edge of Dawn. Melting Arm is also good to start crippling enemies. Cataclysm will apply to everything that you hit when you use your Carnival of Misery, depending on how much you're going to be using Carnival. If you're going to be using Carnival and Inflame Spam, Cataclysm. If you're not, Degraded Defense, and then you get the other one later anyway. Deterioration, that should apply when you do your dots. If not, Strange Vitality, because then that way you can get more toughness going up. So as you buff, you can get even stronger. And then we pick up either Desolation or Ramming Speed, depending on what you took from earlier. Because I've already got Ramming Speed, I don't need it. So Desolation will then be able to add in. If you've already got Desolation and Ramming Speed, depending on the build you went, you can take Clenched Teeth here instead, just so you can a little bit more tough. But at this point, it doesn't matter too much. Vital Playthings, another big increases here. Vital Points, another big damage here. You can take Does It Hurt to increase your critical chance, but your critical chance is probably going to be over 100% if you've got Officers and you're buffing, so Destined is also an option here. Again, Strange Vitality or Deterioration. If you've already got both, you just take something else. At this point, it's kind of up to yourself because you're going to be so strong. And then there's the opportunity to take Pain Resonance here, which is another AoE bleed that you could use, or Expand if you haven't picked it up. Then Easy Target or Still Mind's quite useful, and you finish off Degraded Defense. Because of the Void Veteran boots and the very high burst fires of the chainsaw, yeah, this is the highest damaging build. I set the shard to 500 million HP, and I was still able to one-turn it. It was insanely easy. Alternatively, if you didn't want to go the execution route, so also I've got the gear here, so you can see sort of the options. What you prioritize is going to be down to your playstyle. You can also use Bloody Pact along with like Stronghold Stratagem to create infinite AP. So you can generate AP. On Finest Hour, you have unlimited attacks, and then you can just keep attacking and you can keep healing. So yeah, infinite AP possible. Don't know if they'll patch that, but at the moment it's fine. So full sword version that goes into Arc Militant. I'm not going to spend too much time going through this. It's just an option for you to do if you want to go for it. That one I tend to build more around agility. Then we have the Death Aura Chainsaw Assassin. This one is built around Chainsaw using Killing Edge to get those burst shots Killing Edge because it does incredible damage. You'll also be able to abuse the Death Aura stuff. So I've covered the Death Aura stuff before, but basically Malign Influence with gear that and auras that promote willpower checks will absolutely just nuke the battlefield by moving around it. You can also use stuff like the Area Taunt to absolutely kill stuff. So funny enough, I put Inflame Breakthrough possible here, but I didn't actually cover Taunting Scream. Let's throw that in. Yeah, no, that's actually an option there as well to utterly kill everything. Yeah, the armor that you're going to be focused on here is obviously High Spins armor that creates a willpower save. Self-calibrating goggles, self-calibrating helm creates a willpower save. Notice weakness will increase your damage, and then you can either remove your attack limit there, and you can also abuse Void Veteran boots for this to keep moving around, or you can use Enforcer's Light boots for some parry stuff. But yeah, no, this is also very, very strong just with having the Death Aura. And you can either use two weapons or you can use a chainsaw here. It's up to you. And lastly, the Vanguard build. Vanguard is probably the weakest archetype in the game. It does need a buff, but people absolutely love it just because they think it's a tank when it's not. It's a support add-on. But yeah, no, people love Vanguard, so there is an option there for that. And obviously, Gearin has been covered for that as well. But yeah, Heinrix, he's the man that can do it all because he's a psych. Basically, he's a warrior. He's a Psyker. Yes, his homeworld is Imperial, so it's not very good, but he's far stronger than A-Blood. A-Blood is an Imperial world warrior Navy officer. There's nothing to his either world or his origin that really boosts melee all that much, or even tanking. Navy officer can use Galfme to knock things down, which is good for CC, but you can use that on anything. And obviously Imperial world doesn't really add much to your playstyle here. So Heinrix also being Imperial world doesn't add much, but the fact that he's a Psyker, strongest origin in the game. So yeah, no, he's just infinitely bad in A-Blood. You'll actually out-tank A-Blood on all of these builds by about mid-level anyway. The only decent thing A-Blood has really is that he starts with heavy armor. But yeah, no, you want the strongest companion in the game right now. This man, yeah, the only one who even comes close second to damage is probably Kibella or Argenta. Kibella can actually use chainsaws in her build as well. You can just put that in the secondary and still use the two-handed swords and just swap over for when you want to do some burst fire. And there's a lot of gear overlap, but I tend not to try to min-max that hard. But hopefully this helps. We'll also have some videos at the start and the end. So yeah, let's show you how to play it. Till the next time, bye-bye.
see to it. But of course, I won't object to it. Let's see to it. For the throne's glory. Vengeance will be swift. But of course. I won't object to it. The Emperor is on our side. Now, guides my hand. Let's see to it. I won't object to it. Let's see to it. I won't object to it. But of course, I'm done. I won't object to it. Let's see to it. But of course, Lord Captain. Naturally, low momentum. Let's see to it. I won't object to it. Let's see to it.